Hey guys, Digital Lifestyle here, back with another video, and this one's going to be focusing on the world trade, exchanges. Everything is coming together within the crypto space. Probably not as quickly as it should be for some, but that's the way this has to happen. They are building out a new system which will take other countries from way back from poverty into a reality, a financial change, a financial shift that helps the impoverished, it helps everyone. It creates a level playing field. I want to play you a video here, which is an advert, but it's saying WTO World Trade in action. Let me just play it.
I'm really delighted to welcome all of you.
Gordon Brown used to be he used to be a prime minister. Before that, he was the chancellor. So he knows his stuff, and he's going to be speaking, but he's not going to be speaking directly here. I'm not sure. Well, I know he's going to be talking about world trade and how he's there. Put it that way.
To the WTO Public Forum and to this third event in our presidential lecture series.
Wow, you got all of these critical words inside the same panel.
It's really helped develop tools and resources for historically marginalized groups across the globe.
I understand that today is the first time that we've had Indigenous peoples represented in a high-level panel like this.
This young social entrepreneur trying to make climate action in his own way happen.
We have to look at ways in which developing countries like St. Vincent and the Grenadines can benefit from this type of technology.
Right. It's not whether we should have trade or not trade. I think it's what kind of trade do we want.
How we can balance the table between the dialogues on trade and the dialogues on climate change.
The World Trade Organization has done a huge amount to stop protectionism, but it's telling us to wake up.
I cannot think of any person other than Gordon to share his thoughts on how we in the world can work together to make trade work better for people everywhere and for the planet.
I'm going to indulge you one more question.
Or what would be the main driver that different trade?
The World Trade Report 2023 asks a big question. What is the role of it?
So, first question, how many governments are in the process of acceding to the WTO?
Anyway, let's move on because there's more to show you with videos in terms of what's going on behind the scenes in these organizations and what they've got planned. Let me move on. Trade Finance TV Talks, where they talk about the revolution of the trade finance bill, the EBLs, electronic bills, they call them balls, I think, how they work and how this new system of trading is going to revolutionize trading and global finance in a sense, with trading, how blockchain technology is going to be used, and it's a massive revolution. He mentions UK and I think another country, can't remember which one, but anyway, carry on.
Let's just take a bit of a step back in time from paper to digital. Obviously, the concept of a bill of lading has changed over time, but how has this changed with respect to the electronic trade document?
Lading, sorry guys.
Act.
Yeah, I think the Singapore law and the UK law embracing electronic bill lading have been a turning point in history because you had, as you correctly mentioned, the electronic bill of lading being around for over 20 years with very limited adoption. in the industry. And one of the reasons is that if you scratch the surface and you go into the really the legal side of the bill of lading validity, what you have been so far are just contractual law-based bill of ladings, which yes are electronic, but they are just an artifact. So they are not really embodying all the functions and the legal rights of a paper bill of lading. Now with the UK law and the Singapore law, everything is different. Provided that a solution matches the requirements of these laws, then you really have a fully fledged bill of lading in digital form.
Okay, so now let's talk about CICRO's electronic bill of lading solution, and you've had legal opinions in a couple of jurisdictions. Can you talk a bit about the challenges and also opportunities around the global acceptance of EBLs?
Yeah, the challenges, these are very, very good question, because paradoxically, the big challenges are with those companies that are really tried legacy electronic bill of lading solutions. They got burned with the lack of scalability and with the cumbersome legal setup and compliance that we need to do at the beginning with the so-called rulebook. So what we built is a solution that basically gets rid of a complex rulebook. We have a very simple legal agreement, because the legal validity is not supported by a private agreement, it's supported by the compliance with the law. So you are in the space of an electronic document that is legal natively. Statutory law legality is not private contractual law legality. It's a totally different concept. And yes, we got many legal opinions. We got the approval from the International Group of Protection Indemnities, but also some very well-known corporates and ship owners that are and banks that are looking into CICRO as a viable solution for their needs.
Thank you very much. So let's talk about blockchain, which I don't actually get to talk about as much as I do, because often you find its reputation somewhat tarnished. I think I want to actually talk more about a Ricardian contract and the concept of the Ricardian contract. Can you talk about your blockchain solution in relation to Ricardian contracts and how this really enhances that legal and operational robustness and validity of the e-bill of lading?
Yeah, but blockchain is an interesting technology that can be used for many purposes. So it can be cryptocurrency, can be traceability, like in the case of trade lens, can be just logging actions. And then there is another way, which is using blockchain for a more sophisticated purpose, namely the tokenization of assets. So what we did with CICRO is that the bill of lading is actually a Ricardian contract on CICRO. So the user-facing end is a human-readable document that has all the characteristics of a digitally signed PDF with all the workflows and automation. But then in the backend, you have a machine-readable component which is created on a blockchain, on a private ledger. And there is a very specific legal reason why we are doing this, because this non-fungible token, under many jurisdictions of several countries, is a security. And being a security can be used to collateralize against a loan, for instance, against a trade finance instrument. So it can be used by bank for purposes that are not just keeping track of something. Can be taken off of the balance sheet, for instance.
Yeah. Well, I guess that comes on to my next question, because, I think we know banks have been reticent to use EBLs as collateral documents of title. Is that because of the fact that, current solutions don't have that non-fungible token, therefore they can't be securitized or used as collateral for an EBL?
This is one of the reasons. We believe that is, after speaking with many banks, is one of the main reasons. So the real usefulness to banks of the electronic bill of lading is very limited unless you unlock this function, which is very important for banks, especially those that are operating under the Basel III framework, and they need to reduce their financial risk. And to do this, they need to have tight control and demonstrate in a very clean-cut manner the possession of the document. And there is no better way to do this than with a non-fungible token.
Yeah. So can CICRO's collateralized EBL be used as security?
Yeah, this is one of the main features that we are proposing to banks, and we have some of the major banks in trade finance that are actively looking into SICRO, if not coming on board very soon. So we're very excited about that.
As you heard there are still some regulatory issues with electronic trade bills. So, and this comes out from the Electronic Trade Federation touts crypto trading regulation integration with TradFi, and basically the World Federation Exchange, whose members handled over 140 trillion in trades in 2022, have some concerns as members adopt DLT. So let's go and read a little bit about that, and I'll cap this video off. The World Exchange Federation, WF, sees the potential for crypto assets trading platform CTBS to play larger role in the real economy and society at large. It had some blunt observations about CTPS and suggestions for regulators in a paper released September 28. The CTPS should welcome, I'm going to read that, what the concerns are. That's the point I want to read you. If you make it possible for regulated institutions to run services in crypto assets, you effectively chase this business out of institutions who know how to run it properly and into the shadows where they may run by new entrants, where they may be run by new entrants with limited experience. That could be well true. DeFi appears to operate differently from TradFi and CeFi, but the difference are not quite stark as they may seem. A platform where buyers sellers meet is its very nature a central entity. Okay, yeah, fair enough. So I bundled that up. I'm gonna leave it there, guys. Digital Lifestyle out. No, I'm not gonna go yet. I will be going. Like and subscribe, but think about what's happening. Think about the everything that's taking place within. It starts with trade. It has to start with trade. Why does it have to start with trade? Because the world works on trade. All right, think about that, okay? And look at the laws that have been passed. All right, think about XDC, not financial advice. That is one of the tokens for trade finance. Anyway, Digital Lifestyle out. Take care of yourselves. Have a good day.
Commissioner, Mr. President, I rise again, I'm afraid, to make the same old hoary speech that I've been making here for several years, and that is, it is my opinion that you do not really understand the concept of banking. All the banks are broke. Bank Santander, Deutsche Bank, Royal Bank of Scotland, they're all broke. And why are they broke? It isn't an act of God. It isn't some sort of tsunami. They're broke because we have a system called fractional reserve banking, which means that banks can lend money that they don't actually have. It's a criminal scandal, and it's been going on for too long. To add to that problem, you have moral hazard, a very significant moral hazard from the political sphere. And most of the problem starts in politics and central banks, which are part of the same political system. We have counterfeiting, sometimes called quantitative easing, but counterfeiting by any other name. The artificial printing of money, which if any ordinary person did, they'd go to prison for a very long time. And yet governments and central banks do it all the time. Central banks repress the amount of interest that rates are, so we don't have the real cost of money. And yet we blame the real retail banks for manipulating LIBOR. The sheer effrontery of this is quite astonishing. It's central banks that manipulate interest rates, Commissioner. And plus, underneath all this, we talk loosely, in a rather cavalier fashion, do we not, about deposit guarantees. So when banks go broke through their own incompetence and chicanery, the taxpayer picks up the tab. It's theft from the taxpayer. And until we start sending bankers, and I include central bankers and politicians, to prison for this outrage, it will continue.